Welcome to Best Kept Secrets Travel Podcast, episode 11. My name's Morgan.
And I'm Will, and this is How to Save Money Whilst Travelling Part 3. And in this episode, we're going to break down just a few of our favourite points of how you guys can save money, all based around our favourite thing, which is food.
It's not mine.
Best friends, and that's for life. Who stay traveling? I'm talking worldwide, 65 countries between the two. Every moment is so unbelievable. Sharing the best kept secrets about the trips and mistakes they made that they can't forget. So tell me if you're ready for a time to remember as they gear up for the next adventure. Yeah. Woo! Best kept secrets travel.
Whilst you're watching or listening to this episode of our podcast, comment in the section below if you guys have any funny stories or you have any questions about how you guys can save money, all based around your food. And whilst you're down there in that little comment section, just scroll up a tiny little bit, click that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and leave us a like. Never a dislike, or we dislike you.
Dislike's fine, you free choice.
No free choice. Nothing's free in this world.
Just going to put a big banner over him and mute him out.
Point number 1 of Best Kept Secret, how to save money whilst you guys are travelling, all related to food, is do as much online research as you can before you travel to your location or country of choice, or ask any of the locals, any family or friends who have already travelled there in the past, message someone on Instagram, or ask anyone working in a hostel, Airbnb, or in a hotel that you've chosen to stay at about how to find the cheapest supermarket. If you're a UK-based viewer or listener, then you would understand the quick difference between someone going into Waitrose or someone going into Lidl or Aldi. There's a huge price difference. But if you've never been to that country before and you just see a supermarket, you might not realise just how much money you could potentially be saving by going to a different one. And that applies to all of you guys, wherever you're travelling around the world. Make sure you do your research. Sometimes your research can actually be whilst you're in the country, just going into a couple of supermarkets without ever purchasing something.
When you're actually in the country, another way you can save money, which is to do with research, is actually asking the person at the desk, so the receptionist or someone who's at the hostel or who's been in this country before, and ask them where the cheapest places you can go and get food, because they will likely know where the good places to eat are and where the best places are to not get ill. Yes, no? Do you not agree with that?
Yeah, it's just that's kind of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
you said this in one of the ones I've edited. Like, I said something, you just looked at, I was like... Point number 2, best kept secrets, how to save money whilst you guys are travelling, is try and make meals as with bigger group as you can when you're in a hostel. If you've got an Airbnb with your mates, try and bulk buy all of that food.
So just go out and ask people randomly on the street.
Not on the street, but be confident. If you're in a hostel and you're with a mate or you're with a small group, or if you're on your own, go around and ask what people are doing for dinner, because people might
are
say...
friendly and people do want to eat.
Exactly. People are super friendly in hostels. You shouldn't be scared. You should take that sort of leap of confidence and just ask people, what are you guys doing for dinner? Have you guys thought about dinner yet? They might already have bought stuff and actually realise that you could just chip in a tiny bit of money. Or one of the things which a lot of hostels do now are these big meals, don't they?
Yeah, the family meals. And the family meals I always really enjoy because it's a great way to meet lots of people, research and find out about the best places to go and what activities to do. And actually, for example, when you're solo travelling, it's a great way to find people to do activities with. But as far as food's concerned, it's normally just €5 or a cheap cost, and that covers your food, drink, and lots of different things, and you just get to sit down and eat with everyone, which is such a nice thing to do.
And normally the only thing that you really need to do in terms of taking part is sometimes the member of staff in the hostel will do that. You just need to clean up your plate, bowl, or spoon, knife, fork at the end, and then you're kind of done. And we've even been, I think it was one in Cairns where it was only a couple of Aussie dollars and we got a massive spaghetti bolognese.
There was a barbecue on one of them.
And then there was a barbecue on another one, and because they're buying so much food in bulk, makes it drastically cheaper for you guys overall. Point number 3 of how to save money whilst you guys are travelling is try and minimise how many times you're eating out at restaurants or sort of bars and everything, because the more that you guys can cook yourself or do the big family meals like in the hostels, That's going to save a lot of money over time, which you can then spend on excursions, or you can do that for a long period of time, and then you'll have a bigger pot of money for when you want to go and have a nice meal. Or if you're in a big city where almost all the eating out in the restaurants or cooking at home and stuff isn't necessarily possible, or it's really expensive, then at least you've built up some funds and reserves to go and have that really nice big meal.
Yeah, and where maybe food is your major motivation for going places, which I guess it could. I mean, we've been to Peru and we had ceviche, which was lovely. But where is the motivation? Then maybe go out and try that and go to a restaurant. But other than that, try and save money and actually spend it on the activities and the fun stuff. And the ways to do that, as you said, is go to the supermarket. And when we were in Australia, we were driving around in our camper van, and we would always go to the supermarket, buy a load of food, and then essentially have a barbecue.
Oh, we bought the worst sausages. Morgan was just being so strict on our budget. Went to the back, and instead of buying, for anyone who knows, like supermarkets in the UK, you buy normally like 6-pack of sausages or whatever. Morgan was buying these massive plastic bags of like 30 or 40 sausages, and it had a 1.5 star health rating on it. And then he'd go and pick up.
At least it had a rating.
Had about a 30-pack or whatever tray of eggs, and they would just crack a load of eggs. Oh, we bought that really cheap cooking bacon as well, which was just in the massive blocks.
And the soy sauce to have flavour.
Yeah, so
that was essentially it.
This was our first big holiday together away, and it was definitely one of our unhealthiest. Just because we hadn't really learned.
No, which is where we are trying to teach all of you guys. This is
us using our experience to try and pass it down. As there are certain places and times when you're going to have fun and take sacrifices, and I'm only on holiday for a matter of weeks or a short time. If I was doing a 6-month trip, I'd probably be a lot more cautious about what I was putting in my body, because I know that's going to have a larger overall effect.
Well, I always tend to lose weight when I'm travelling alone, and then as soon as I'm travelling with you, I start putting on fat.
It's because
it's the beer.
We enjoy the beer, Morgan. Enjoy the beer. One of the main things as well is we're talking about saving money, but if you try and save too much money and you start consuming foods which you know are really nutritionally awful for you guys, then actually you've got a large chance of you guys getting ill.
Yeah, don't go to McDonald's in foreign countries. That's my best kept secret.
Yeah, zero liability for McDonald's suing us. That's just our personal opinion. I've had some awful experience in McDonald's.
That's just made Kieran ill in India. It made one of our friends, Harry, ill in Thailand when he was actually hospitalised. So yeah, McDonald's doesn't have the same health ratings in some places as it does in maybe England.
Yeah.
And
actually, talking about McDonald's, I thought McDonald's was cheap until we were in Brisbane, and I realised I could get completely stuffed on takeaway sushi for cheaper than I could go and buy a nugget meal in McDonald's.
Yes, so street food is quite often very cheap, and one of the best things about street food, going on the being ill part, is you watch them cook it in front of you, so you know it's either fully cooked or not, and you sort of have the choice to decide whether you want to have that food or not, because you can see it before buying it, which is quite a nice thing, whereas with some restaurants you can't. Most restaurants you can't see them cooking actually, or the food beforehand. But anyway, and if you have a funny story to do with getting ill or to do with saving money when you're traveling, just comment below on this YouTube video or message us on Instagram, which is at the BKStravel. You'll put a thingy in here.
Yeah, a thingy.
Yeah, and if you have any good stories, then we'll talk about it in a future episode. Will, do you have any interesting stories about you being cheap? I'm sure you have many.
Morgan and I have mentioned in another episode where we had a small layover in Bangkok, and it was the only time I've been in Thailand. I was there for 14 hours.
It's a great time.
And we went to Khao San Road, and one of the things we did was grab street food.
You have to.
It costs the equivalent in...
It's less than £1.
It was the equivalent of 34p.
Yeah.
Had a pad thai. We were asked, do you want chicken, prawn, or beef or something. And really stupidly, just my gut feeling, I just said prawn pad thai. The second I ordered it, I just thought that is the what? No, he's wrong. It's a crustacean. It's not a fish. Get your facts right, Morgan.
Fish food?
You're teaching these people on the
Would it be
podcast.
fish food? What would it come under?
Crustacean.
No, I want a more generalised. I want vegetarian meat.
This is going to
fish.
make you look thick in editing. I'm not removing this dumb. I'm not removing this dumb. It's a crustacean.
Meat, vegetarian. I want 3 categories. That's what I've decided.
No.
No.
Seafood.
Oh, I guess I can.
And then I'll go fish and crustacean.
Yeah, I guess
And,
that's
like,
a broader. Well,
cephalopod
that's
and
the
stuff
third
like that.
category then. Seafood.
One of the things I've always been brought up to know is just don't have any prawns, anything like that.
Seafood.
Just in a dodgy setting, somewhere you've never been before and you don't trust and you don't know how fresh it's been. I should have learned. I was maybe awake for about
It'd only been
28
about
hours straight at this point.
Yeah.
So I was absolutely shattered. The second I ordered it, I regretted it. I ate it. Tasted kind of good. Not gonna lie, 34p. It was pretty damn good. It was a pretty damn good pad thai. But my body regretted it. I'm not going into too much detail. But let's say Morgan's favourite Imodium came into play. And that's the end of that story. Sometimes going cheap is not the answer. It was not the answer in that point in my life.
No, and well, unless you were trying to lose weight, then
No, because the flight to Sydney from Bangkok was less enjoyable.
that is true.
For all our viewers and listeners out there, that's all we've got time for on this episode of Best Kept Secrets Travel, how to save money, all related to food. If you guys have any feedback for us as we're still learning, and this is our first podcast, please drop it in the comment below, leave us a review because it all helps. Try and share it with any families, friends, whoever you've got.
Or enemies.
Yes,
Anyone.
Just bombard your enemies with this.
Literally
Just
anyone.
say to them you're going to hate it because then you're using reverse psychology and it's going to help us massively. Do you have anything else to say, Morgan?
Roll the outro.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I hope that you can handle going on adventures, best kept secret travels. Yeah, all over the globe, having fun, you know the deal. Amazing secret locations, hang out with Morgan and Will. Educate and entertain, haggle in the market, sharing their experiences. Time to get it started. Let's go.